One. And let's come back together, please. I know, everyone wants to keep talking about it. We'll continue the conversation over cocktails, our dreams of future arts leaders. So I would like you to raise your hand if you pictured someone that you know taking your job in 20 years. Interesting. And raise your hand if you imagine someone that you do not yet know. Oh, amazing. Amazing. So my work is really around including as many people as possible in your second vision and thinking about who we are imagining will be sitting in this room in 20 years and who are we not even imagining yet, who should be or could be an arts leader that we do not yet know, and how exciting that is. So it thrills me to see so many hands raised for people that we are imagining, we're dreaming about. So one thing that I've found in my work around inclusion and arts leadership is that the question we're often starting with is this question of who's next. And next is bold-faced here. So we get stuck, or not stuck, we start the conversation in this dialogue around a fellowship, or a program, or an initiative, or a mentorship role. And in a way, I find that we, in many ways, are perpetuating a power structure by always talking about who's next. And I feel like if we have our minds just solely focused on 20 years from now, that we're missing something happening in this moment. We're missing now. So a part of my work has been thinking around this idea that it's not next, it's actually now. And who are the arts leaders now who are already impacting our communities? How are we identifying them? How are we defining them? And what are the ways that we can include diverse arts leaders in our organizations now? So it made me think about this yesterday when we took the informal survey and we asked what were the goals, the top 2 goals of your organization right now looking forward. And the top 2 were engaging new audiences and engaging diverse audiences. And my belief is that the way to do that is by engaging new leaders. And not only at the artistic director role, but new leaders throughout an organization. New leaders bring new audiences. They bring diverse audiences. So this is about a paradigm shift that we need to make now. So today I'm going to talk about one initiative called ThisGen 2016, which I was proud to be a co-curator of. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we learned from our convening in 2016, as well as some big ideas that I've learned in working with organizations around this question of equity and inclusion. So ThisGen was a convening held in Toronto in 2016. It was grounded in the question of who's now. It was clearly not called Next Gen. It was called ThisGen, this generation of leaders. And we wanted to bring together people from around the world to talk about what we were seeing and what we were experiencing across the field and also around the world. So this was co-curated with my colleague Ravi Jain from Why Not Theatre in Toronto, who spoke here last year. And it included 30 arts leaders from 5 countries for a collaboratively led and planned conversation. It included some people who are here at the summit, including Madani, including Sarah Stanley and Leslie as well from Soul Pepper. And it was hosted by 4 theaters in Toronto, Soul Pepper, Theatre Centre, Canadian Stage, and Factory Theatre. So in looking at the group of arts leaders that we wanted to bring together, we wanted to encourage and invite inclusion and diversity on many levels and not just race and ethnicity. So we looked at people who work in institutions as well as grassroots organizers and independent artists, people who hold various roles within our art form, artists of various ages, and then also people and arts professionals at different stages of their career. So in this conversation, there were 5 big ideas that came out of our days together. And as I said earlier, I've found that these big ideas have been repeated in the conversations that I'm doing alongside organizations. So I'm seeing and feeling this trend on both sides, from an institutional side and then also from the artists who are engaging with institutions and or working alongside them. So I'm going to talk through those quickly. Okay, so 5 big ideas. The first one is the idea that we need to, as a field, expand our definition of leadership. So yesterday, a couple different people talked about expanding our idea of theater, expanding our idea of digital technology. And I would say that we also need to expand our idea of leadership. So today's arts leaders do not always fit into traditional roles and career paths. This includes community organizers, this includes activists, artists, and advocates who might wear many hats on a day-to-day basis. So these are arts leaders, we are arts leaders, who are already leading in non-traditional and powerful ways. So when we talk about leadership pathways, we have to make sure that we're identifying and including space for all of the different people who truly are serving as artistic leaders within community. Many of these people, many of us, are not the artistic director, but do have great power within a community. So how do we include true artistic leaders at many levels of an organization? And how do we find them? So the first one is redefining. The second big idea, this is an organizational diagram, graphic, but the idea is that inclusion must happen at all levels of an organization. This is a theme that we've heard multiple times today, and I just want to re-emphasize the importance of this. So oftentimes, we see that inclusion and equity initiatives only target programming. It's an installation, it's an exhibit, it's one play in the season. And that we are recognizing that a diversity or equity slot in a season calendar does not mean true equity. So are we looking across our organization on all levels and ensuring that our community partnerships are inviting people in? I love what Tom said about outreach. That really is a model that I see many times in organizations, that we're going outside. And even the term of inclusion is indicating a power structure. We're in, you're excluded, you're outside, so we're going to open the doors to you. Rather than seeing and recognizing all the ways that communities are already leading in the arts and that they may just not be taking place in your building or in our buildings. So ensuring that we're inviting people in, and then leading to the third big idea, which is a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible slide, meaning action movie. And that is that once we've included arts leaders within our organizations, that we're giving them power to take action, that they have agency to make decisions, they have agency to bring in and hire colleagues that they know from their work. And one trend that I've seen is that often diverse arts leaders who are brought into an organization don't actually have the power to make change. They have the power for their exhibition, their show, maybe the creative team in their show, but not actual long-lasting change within the organization. So how can they take action? The next one is a three-legged race contest, meaning that we're working in partnership with. We're working in partnership with, so that the pathways and the ways that we're envisioning next leaders oftentimes have a power dynamic that's built into them, of a mentorship or an initiative, which is the power dynamic that we know and you don't yet know. So let us take you in and help you understand, rather than going alongside and in a partnership vision. So the idea that including diverse leaders and in an equitable way within an organization means a partnership that does acknowledge different experiences and expertise. That arts leaders who are coming in, who may be community organizers for 15 years, are bringing in invaluable expertise into the organization. And I wanted to also comment on something that was brought up earlier this afternoon, the idea of walking with, which is such a powerful one, and also add the idea of stepping back. So there's a term right now that's being used a lot in the States within activism of step up and step back. Know when it's your time to step up and be an advocate and be present, and know and accept the time for you to step back and to allow someone else to lead, and allow someone else to take the floor with their expertise that they're bringing to us. And then the last one is something that we've been thinking about today and just looking at the Post-its on the wall during the break, the commitments to action. But it's this understanding that everyone in this room has a sphere of influence and is in many ways a gatekeeper. We all make decisions all day, all week, all year that influence the culture of our organization and or our community. So what are the ways that we, on a very personal level, can make an impact regarding inclusion and equity? So one of the trends I think we feel is that in conversations like this, it feels like the challenge is so large and it's very hard to make an actual change. Someone said in my table conversation during the Post-its, are we speaking on behalf of ourselves or our organization? And who's making the commitment? And so I would challenge all of us to really take it in as ourselves, because it is both. It's inherently both. So what are the ways that we can be change agents for the space we do occupy, whether it's hiring in a large way for an organization, whether it's who we're inviting to our open rehearsals within a theater, and who are people who we've never seen or traditionally don't feel welcomed into our space, and how do we identify all of those small actions as a way toward making larger change. So those are the big ideas, quickly rushed through. I'm going to pass the floor to Madani, and then the two of us are going to ask each other some questions about our work in this, and then open up the floor. So thank you.